My coworker kept stealing my ideas, so I pulled the ultimate you-know reverse card and humiliated him in front of everyone. Marcus is this guy in my department who's been copying everything I do for months now. It started with small stuff. I developed this new filing system that I've been perfecting for weeks, and literally the day after I presented it in a team meeting, he showed up with the exact same system he'd been working on. Irritating, but whatever. Maybe great minds think alike. But the exact same thing happened with a client presentation template a couple weeks later. Then I started bringing homemade lunch to save money and mentioned my meal prep routine, and suddenly he's the meal prep king showing off his perfectly portioned containers. I actually think he was buying them from a service because they looked way too professional. But whatever. It wasn't just work stuff either. If I mentioned a podcast, all of a sudden that was his favorite podcast, though he couldn't actually discuss any episodes beyond what he just heard me say. Every time I suggested a new productivity app, oh my god, he'd been using it for months. Every time I would confront him about it, he was a master at gaslighting. He would say stuff like, why would I need to copy you? Or, these are pretty common ideas. Or, it's concerning that you're tracking everything I do. Like I was the paranoid one, and not him. And people bought it. My other coworkers would ask me why I was being so competitive with Marcus. One of them even said that he was the one who suggested the filing system first, which is absolutely not what happened. I know this all sounds kind of trivial, but it honestly was making work unbearable because this completely obvious thing was happening and no one even noticed or believed me. He even showed up at the same conference in Vegas that I'd registered for months in advance, and he started scheduling his lunch breaks at the same time as mine, so I couldn't even escape him then. But at least I had my side hustle where I could get away from him. It's not like it's glamorous or anything. I teach pottery classes at a community center on weekends, but the extra income is decent and it's therapeutic, so I enjoy it. And then last month, I showed up to teach, and the director told me they'd hired someone new to assist with classes. Guess who? I nearly dropped my clay when Marcus walked out in an apron. I couldn't believe that he had followed me here. As soon as the director left, I asked him what the hell he was doing here, and he just shrugged and said, I've always been interested in pottery. Like this was the only place. This was the final straw. I decided I needed to expose him as a copycat once and for all, and I needed to do it in a way that would completely destroy his credibility. So I started dropping hints at work that I was thinking about a major career change. I have a great position that I've worked years for, but I started saying things like, I'm just so burnt out, and corporate life isn't for me anymore, and I'm thinking about becoming a park ranger. At first, I was really subtle about it, but over a couple weeks, I started talking about it more and more. Guys, I'm serious. I already started the application process. My coworkers thought I'd lost it, but Marcus, always my biggest supporter, would say stuff like, that's so brave, or whatever, saying, I've always dreamed of working outdoors too, and maybe I should apply, because of course he was going to mirror whatever came out of my mouth. I don't think it ever occurred to him that I was setting a trap, which obviously I was, but I absolutely was serious about creating fake documents. A couple nights ago, I made my move. I photoshopped an acceptance letter from the National Park Service, complete with official letterhead and everything. I even created a fake email thread with a recruiter, like it was convincing. I left it accidentally visible on my desk when I knew Marcus would walk by, and made sure to have a loud phone conversation about giving my 2 weeks notice. I could not wait to get to work the next day and see what happened. I got in early to make sure I was there when the news broke, then sat at my desk working on actual projects. Plenty of people who heard the rumors were coming by asking if I was really leaving. Whatever, I'd clear that up later, waiting for Marcus. And then our boss called an emergency meeting. Marcus had submitted his resignation. Man looked like he'd seen a ghost when he saw me sitting there. He just stood at the conference table, completely speechless, staring at me. He tried to explain, but finally just muttered something about personal reasons and left the room. I called after him. Following your dreams to work outdoors, right? Totally your idea, but I don't think he heard me over everyone's confused murmuring.